who came from tailoring Nelson Mandela's famous shirts to building a fashion house with 50 years of history. Designer Pathé'O began as an immigrant and became one of the country's most recognizable fashion figures.
I'm
not an industrialist. I'm just an artist and a tailor who wanted something out of the ordinary.
My name is Ouedraogo Pathé.
I put the O after of pâté and it becomes Pathé'O.
I changed the perception of African fashion. I'm Pathé'O and I'm a change maker. When I left my village, we were still quite young. I left with my brother from Burkina Faso to come to Côte d'Ivoire. The gentleman who took us in for the first time thought we were too small to work on his plantation. So that led us to Abidjan. When I got to Abidjan, we were at my uncle's house. And as a villager who comes to Abidjan, it's huge, it's gigantic. You're interested in everything. So I saw a shop window. There were really stylish clothes hanging in this window, and it's the first time I'd seen that. It really impressed me. I told my uncle that I wanted to learn sewing, and that's how it happened.
Under apprenticeships with master tailors, Pathé'O says his love for fashion began to grow, and with it, the desire to start his own brand.
First of all, when you come in as a kid, you're first an apprentice. And then, gradually, they would pass you on to sewing buttons or hemming pants. In fact, that was the way it was back then. But as you learn, the first thought that comes to your mind is to want to catch up with the others. Once I started working and people began to discover me, a new problem arose. We couldn't satisfy everyone. There are people coming in and you want to take every order, but you can't finish everything. Because I didn't have people I trained who could help me, and me? I couldn't finish everything. Fast forward to 1987, to when there was the Golden Scissors competition. It was the first one in Ivory Coast. And it was what made me truly known throughout the whole of Ivory Coast. There were several hundred participants, and I won first prize. I started to realize that everyone had started to know me, and now I have to live up to it. In fact, that's how the evolution happened.
Starting from his atelier in Trècheville, Abidjan, where his creations are still produced today, the designer says expansion and dressing African leaders came soon after.
In 1995, we started to open the stores. I had 3 stores, and so that brought us a lot of work. And then after, we went outside Côte d'Ivoire. We have 9 stores in Abidjan, and in Ouagadougou, we have 4. Now we have a lot of customers who come in from other countries to buy and commercialize as well. And it makes it easy for us. And here we have President Mandela. That's really the person who paved the way for us. We dressed him for many years, and it really gave us joy. It's not easy wearing what comes from Africa, right? It's as if it's a taboo, but we broke that myth. The first personalities who really agreed to wear what we made was President Gbagbo of Côte d'Ivoire, who was one of the best costumers, and finally there was President Mandela. When he wore them, it was something else. This showed that as a president, he's not more, he's not less by wearing that.
Next, Pathé'O shows how fashion evolved over his lengthy career. Renowned Burkinabe designer Pathé'O has been in Africa's fashion industry for more than 50 years. He says his commitment to using artisanal methods and local materials set him apart and brought global attention his way.
Every continent must have something that represents it. From 69 to 98, I mainly worked on the wax cloth, wax fabrics, but then I realized that I can have the colors I want, only what other people imposed on. So I started making my own materials, making the dyes, making the colors, making the patterns that I wanted, something that was really mine. Everything we have in terms of material is unique. We are the ones who make it with our own hands. There may be 1,000 Pathé'O shirts, but you won't find the same two things. We are producers of the best cotton in the world. We shouldn't be obliged to pay for materials elsewhere. It's called Faso d'Amfani. The Faso d'Amfani is woven in Burkina Faso. Everything is made in Africa and everything is done by hand. That's our work. Look at this. It's beautiful. I work a lot with a lot of couturiers. The most famous is Dior. When I met the house of Dior, it was something that touched them. They came here, 8 women with Maria Grazia, who is the director of the house of Dior. They spent a day here. They wanted to work with us on a fabric called speckled. But it turns out that the speckled fabric we did can only be done by hand. They asked for nearly 40,000 meters for the summer collection. But how many women would you need to do that by hand? It was impossible. The factory couldn't make it. They tried to make it several times and it didn't work. They had to make just one Pathé'O shirt and put a homage to Nelson Mandela by Pathé'O, kind of a tribute. And that's how it happened.
In 2021, the designer celebrated the 50th anniversary of Maison Pathé'O by opening a multi-level space in Abidjan, expanding from the original Trècheville space, which he still goes to almost every day. Pathé'O says a more structured ecosystem around the continent is vital for the future of African fashion.
When I got into fashion, I really believed in it. And that's why I've opened stores everywhere. There was in Kenya, Nairobi, Kinshasa, Congo, Brazzaville, South Africa, Dakar, and all the West Africa. I believe so much in African fashion, but it was tough. The shops fell at the same time after maybe 5 or 6 years. But the future will be African. I'm sure of it. The Africans, the authorities haven't yet understood the importance of fashion. But I think in the future it will be Africa, because there is incredible young talent. When we understand that African fashion can also be an industry and that it can also bring foreign exchange to Africa, then we will win. And I'm sure it's coming. Africa will have its time in the fashion world, and it will be extraordinary.
Pathé'O and Wendia's work here shows that it doesn't matter where you're from or how you begin, you just need to start, right? And that's our show. Thank you for watching. We have all these shows on our website, cnn.com/African Voices. I'm Larmido in Nairobi, and I'll see you next time.